When it comes to manga, it is released in Japan in a variety of ways. Some are released right out the gate as a book. Increasingly, manga is being serialized as online exclusives. In fact, one of the biggest manga titles, at least in North America, right now is being released exclusively online. Spy Family, which is serialized bi-weekly through Shonen Jump Plus. Historically, however, manga has been published through magazines. Now, personally, this is actually one of the appeals of manga to me. The idea of going to a magazine stand or even a vending machine and paying a couple of bones for a literal phone book of comics, as opposed to going into a comic book shop and spending around $5 on a 40-page comic book. You do pay the price later on, however. When it comes to manga magazines, they are typically printed on paper of poor quality and mostly black and white, with only a couple of color pages thrown in sometimes. These things are really made to be thrown away after you've read them, but the idea is still highly appealing to me. The problem, however, is that this experience is something that is pretty much exclusive to Japan. But some companies in the past have attempted to replicate this model of distributing manga outside of Japan. Most notably, Viz Media has put out a number of manga magazines in the past, with one of their biggest and most well-known being the topic of today's video, Shonen Jump. Shonen Jump was launched by Viz Media in November of 2002, with Jason Thompson initially being the editor-in-chief before departing after 6 issues to work on his own comics. Published for the North American market as a monthly, the magazine was essentially a reworking of the king of manga in Japan, Weekly Shonen Jump. The first issue ended up being extremely successful, selling well over 300,000 copies. It contained chapters from 5 different titles: Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z, Sandland, Yu Yu Hakusho, and One Piece, keeping the original left-to-right format. Along with the actual manga, the magazine would feature interviews from authors, fan art, simple lessons in Japanese, news on upcoming releases, and even Yu-Gi-Oh! God! Begone! Begone from my house! How dare you foul up my sweet air? I've seen what you did to all those kids. It starts out innocently enough. They buy a pack with hopes of a blue eyes white dragon. Then 20 years later, they're still living in their mother's basement, unable to leave, because they keep buying Yu-Gi-Oh! Packs. Okay, calm down. Everything's gonna be alright. Let's just get back to the video. Later on, the magazine would expand from 5 to 7 running series, which would continue until its end. Shonen Jump seemed like a real steal. For around 5 bones, you would get well over 300 pages of manga and related periodicals. Some of the largest series of all time ran in the magazine, including Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. All of this combined to create what was probably the most successful manga magazine to have ever come out in North America, racking up a large following and a number of comics awards as well. It was so successful, in fact, that in 2005 a sister publication called Shoujo Beat was created. Shoujo Beat was essentially a copy of this magazine, but with shoujo titles instead. This success could be partially attributed to the extensive advertising done beforehand, free samples being distributed to retailers, and extensive connections to Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, which promoted the magazine as well. All of this combined, creating the perfect storm. Now, admittedly, I never actually got Shonen Jump while it was being released. Like I said before, I didn't start reading manga until middle school, which would have been around 2014, long after Shonen Jump stopped being published. I do have a number of issues from the mid 2000s that I picked up for $1 each at a comic shop, and let me tell you what. Even though I didn't necessarily grow up with the magazine, flipping through these, seeing the ads and the general mid 2000s aesthetics of them, absolutely hits me with a wave of nostalgia. Ah, yes, it takes me back to a better time, a simpler time, a happier time, a time before I knew what hentai was. Oh, I wish I could go back. Now, if you've been paying attention to the video, then you may have already realized that the magazine no longer exists. While it may have been a huge success, it would unfortunately not last forever. In October of 2011, Viz Media announced that they would be ending the physical magazine and it will be replaced with a web version. The web version was to be called Weekly Shonen Jump Alpha, and it would feature most of the same content as the current magazine, but in a digital-only format. The final issue of Shonen Jump would be released April of 2012. While the physical magazine may have ended in 2012, the spirit still continues on. Now, its replacement, Weekly Shonen Jump Alpha, would continue publication online until 2018, when it as well was discontinued and replaced by a new online service on Viz Media's website called Shonen Jump Digital Vault, in which you pay a monthly fee in order to access a huge catalog of the current and already finished Weekly Shonen Jump titles. I personally wish, however, that I could still go into a comic or magazine stand today and buy a physical magazine of manga and related articles, much like they still do in Japan. But the online service honestly is way better. Not only can they include all series from Weekly Shonen Jump, but they can be released quicker and for an overall cheaper price. Now, you see, part of the problem with Shonen Jump magazine lies in the fact that they were converting what is normally a weekly magazine into a monthly one. It was a gargantuan task that is a bit akin to the myth of Sisyphus. Not only that, but the physical magazines are incredibly expensive to print and is sadly just a dying medium. Even in Japan, companies are seeing lower magazine sales and are scrambling to create online manga services. With the ending of Shonen Jump, the manga community lost something that was truly special. I'm sure that many of you out there who actually read and bought Shonen Jump when it was being released hold fond memories of that magazine and the community that was built around it to this very day. If you yourself have any memories and thoughts about Shonen Jump, then please share them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll come back to my channel again. That's all for today. Goodbye.